Hey y'all, can y'all hear me okay? Oh wow, hi Black Queen. Thank you so much for moderating so early in the day. I appreciate you. Hey everybody, thank y'all so much for being here. Hi Melissa Lindsay. Melissa Lindsay says, "Hey, I made a live for once. I'm so glad you made it." Oh, thank you so much, Karen M. Okay, so y'all can hear me. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. It's good to see y'all. It's been a while since we've done, let me get in the middle. It's been a while since we've done a live stream. I've had a lot of stuff going on. And so it's good to be able to do something fun. Hey, y'all. Oh, wow. Hi, Annie Bullard. Hi, Mama Jane. Hi, Tindos. So hey, Mina Ruth. Hi, Marion Gums. It's so good to see y'all. Okay, so I wanted to do a live stream today to just get us caught up. As many of you know, I had a family tragedy for the last 2 weeks. And so we're getting back into life as it's going to look from this point forward. And so I thought it would be nice to kind of lighten the household a little bit and lighten my mood up by talking to y'all. It's always a lot of fun to do a live stream. And it has been months since I've done a live stream. And I thought this would be fun. It'll kind of get me out of my rut for sure. And it'll get us all caught up with some of the news that I'm definitely behind on. So some of this y'all have probably talked about a million times over. So I apologize if it's redundant, but you haven't heard me talk about it. So it is a little fresh. So it's good to get caught up. But since it has been so long since we've talked, I just want to say thank you so much for riding with me through all the changes this year. This year has been a crazy year, and we're only in the third quarter. Wait, it's October. Nope, we're in the fourth quarter. See, I told y'all my days are all over the place. We are in the fourth quarter. And so I appreciate y'all for all of the support. Now, y'all did not come here for my little musty testimonial. So let's get to the fun stuff. While we get into the first segment, please don't forget to comment. Feel free to join a membership button by hitting the membership button below and becoming a member. Let me see. Is there anything else I usually announce at this point? It's been a long time. I need to have a script, but I do not have a script. Anyway, I'm going to be reading your comments as we go. And after each segment, as always, we'll come back and we'll continue the discussion. Thank you so much to the moderators. My only moderator here for right now is Black Queen. Thank you so much, Black Queen, for all of your help. And I appreciate everybody for attending. Feel free to share the live. I forgot to share it today, y'all. I'm going to get back in the group. But please feel free to share the live so more squatties who are free right now can join us and have a good time. So let's get to the first segment and get the conversation started. This This past weekend, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, stepped out and absolutely stunned as she appeared at the Children's Hospital 2024 Los Angeles Gala. Today, I'll be reading directly from Vogue all about the outing, but especially about that fabulous red look. The title of this article is Meghan Markle Rewears One of Her Most Glamorous Gowns, and this is written by Christian Allaire. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, made a surprise appearance at the Children's Hospital 2024 Los Angeles Gala, which paid tribute to its patients and pediatric workers. Quote, "The work that they do is otherworldly," the Duchess of Sussex said on the red carpet. "From my standpoint as a mother, no one wants to be in a position where you would need to go to a place like this. But if you have to, the best place in the world you could go would be Children's Hospital LA." Playing up the formal feel of the event, Meghan chose a glamorous red gown by Carolina Herrera, and it turns out she wore the design once before back in 2021. Herrera first wore the plunging red silk. There's a mistake here. This should be Meghan or Duchess of Sussex or whatever, but it says Herrera, which is the designer, not Meghan. Meghan first wore the plunging red silk dress to the Intrepid Museum's Salute to Freedom Gala, which she attended with Prince Harry back in November of 2021. That time, the gown came complete with a sweeping train attached to the waist. To give the frock a fresh feel for today, Meghan revived it without the train, allowing the long column silhouette and long slit to shine on its own, accessorized with minimal jewelry and matching red satin sandals. Of course, this isn't the first time that Meghan has opted to recycle a piece from her own wardrobe for the red carpet. The Duchess has a history of giving her polished pieces a second life, as she should. Earlier this year, for one, she re-wore the yellow. Not the yellow. I've been in East Texas too long. We're going to start that one back over. Earlier this year, for one, she re-wore the yellow Carolina Herrera column gown she wore to announce her pregnancy with Princess Lilibet back in 2021. So it seems like most of the 2021 staple pieces are getting new life in 2024. She has also repeated her go-to Sin Taylor coats for Stella McCartney and Aritzia dresses, proving that the right investment pieces can be worn again and again. Clearly, this also applies to formal wear. Simply alter the silhouette slightly, and even a ball gown can feel like an entirely new fashion moment. It's also very sustainable to rewear pieces, but also to make them new again. You get a lot of life out of outfits and pieces as long as you take care of them and you keep them updated. I think that's extremely smart of her to do. It's also very helpful to the environment. But this is absolutely stunning. As I was completing this update, I actually saw that a new update went up directly on Sussex.com regarding this outing. And since they're my preferred hub for all news Duke and Duchess of Sussex, I wanted to read it directly from them. The title of this update is CHLA 2024. And before we even continue, look at the beams on both of their faces. They have absolute stars in their eyes. That is amazing. Oh, I love that photo. This weekend, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, attended the biennial Children's Hospital Los Angeles Gala, an inspiring event dedicated to celebrating the exceptional services provided to children across LA. Invited as a special guest by CHLA's president and CEO, Paul Viviano, the Duchess was proud to stand alongside esteemed guests in support of this vital cause. The evening featured the presentation of CHLA's highest philanthropic honor, the Courage to Care Award, which was bestowed upon boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard and his wife Bernadette, as well as Chuck Lorre and AEG. Their unwavering commitment to philanthropy serves as a testament to the impact individuals can have on the lives of young patients. CHLA's remarkable nurses were also recognized as mission ambassadors, celebrating their dedication and compassion in caring for the children they serve. The event was co-chaired by Molly McNeary and Jimmy Kimmel, along with Kristen and Jeff Worth, who set an uplifting tone for the evening. The Duchess has a long-standing connection with CHLA, having visited the hospital on several occasions to meet with patients and participate in the annual Make March Matter campaign. Her presence at the gala underscored her commitment to advocating for the health and well-being of children around the world. The evening was a resounding success, reminding us all of the power of community support in improving the lives of those in need. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to CHLA and everyone involved for their dedication and generosity. Together, we can continue to make a meaningful difference in the lives of children and their families. Let's take a look at some of the videos from the red carpet.
How are you, Meghan? Meghan, right there. Meghan over here. Meghan. Meghan over here to your right. And Meghan right here. Oh, Meghan.
And right here.
And together. Start right here. Ladies together. Oh, one stop.
Can we get all the smiles in one? There it is. Thank you. Oh.
Start right here.
I'm starting here for CHLA. Thank you so much. Start with Matt, who's just next to me.
Past your bedtime for sure. How old is he? Hi, how are you? What's your name? Nice to meet you, Marcus. How old are they? Oh, so really close to our kids, so 3 and 5. Oh, yeah. Take a picture? Of course. Here, you don't mind?
You look so beautiful.
You ready? Whoa. Oh, God.
Yeah, there we go. Oh my God. So.
Thank you.
Look at me like, what you doing?
Have fun tonight.
No one wants to have to be in a position where you need to go to a place like this, but if you have to, the best place in the world you could go would be Children's Hospital LA.
Meghan Markle is showing up to support Children's Hospital Los Angeles. While on the red carpet, Meghan spoke about why she is grateful for the Children's Hospital.
Oh my goodness, the work that they do at Children's Hospital LA is otherworldly, and I think from my standpoint as a mother, no one wants to have to be in a position where you need to go to a place like this, but if you have to, the best place in the world you could go would be Children's Hospital LA, and I have close friends who still have their children there going through treatments, either from high school, close mom friends now that are having their children really have that experience, but the staff is incredible, and the amount of work that they do for families that really could not afford this level of care is something that I think should never be overlooked. So I'm just grateful for everything they do. Happy to be here to support.
Meghan also posed for pictures with the hospital's CEO, Paul S. Viviano, Alliance of Moms co-founder Kelly McKee-Zafin, and the Nelson family. She also had a sweet moment with their daughter Ella, who had reportedly been a patient of the hospital.
I wanted to take a second to highlight several social media posts that stuck out to me about this amazing moment of Meghan's. Now, I'm going to highlight first at I Am Noyes on Instagram. I follow her. I've been following her for a while, and she even reached out to me to say thank you for supporting her amazing work. But she does artwork of the royals, and it is always so breathtaking and extremely unique. So if you want to take a look at it, feel free to follow her again on I Am Noyes on at I Am Noyes on Instagram. And she posted this beautiful photo of Meghan in her red dress, and it says Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, at the 2024 CHLA Gala held at the LA Live event deck on October 5th. I also wanted to highlight this post from Meghan's hairstylist, or one of Meghan's hairstylists. This is Hector's World, at Hector's World with 2 Ds on Instagram. And he says, Kelly Zafin and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, looking radiant while attending the Children's Hospital Los Angeles Gala. Hair for Meghan at Hector's World, and color for both by Katie at Highbrow Hippie. Now, we have actually talked about Meghan's hair colorist, Highbrow Hippie, a couple of times, and we explored her website. So feel free to go check that out. That was when we covered Harry and Meghan's trip at the 1 year to go Invictus Games 1 year to go event. And we also talked about who colored her hair then. And that is when we did the deep dive of Highbrow Hippie. So feel free to go check her out. But I love this post because, one, yes, shout yourself out. You did an amazing job. I love Meghan's hair. These kind of beachy waves, but a little bit more polished. And I love the gloss. She looked fantastic. And, you know, she doesn't like to look too put together. She likes to look polished but relaxed, and he nailed it. I love this look. The makeup, the hair, the dress, all of it. It just worked so well. And I'm glad that he shouted out that he did her hair, because obviously if you want this look, then you know who to go to. I love that she doesn't gatekeep. She knows the best of the best, and she shares that with the world. And I love that he posted this. They both looked amazing. And we also have a post from Meghan's hair colorist, Highbrow Hippie, that says, glowing and gorgeous friends, Kelly and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, attending Children's Hospital Los Angeles Gala, cut and style for Meghan at Hector's World, color for both, Katie. And of course, last but absolutely not least, the post directly from Kelly McKee-Zafin, Meghan's friend, and you can find her on Instagram at _heartmom_. And she says, oh, what a night. My deepest gratitude to Children's Hospital Los Angeles for the extraordinary care they give to our daughter Lily. Our journey began when she was just 2.5, and from that day forward, we've experienced nothing but kindness, hope, care, and unmatched expertise. Our team at Children's has given us strength and hope during the most challenging moments, and their commitment to Lily's care has made all the difference to our family. I was also beyond grateful to share in this beautiful evening with one of my closest friends. Meg, your commitment to supporting Children's Hospital Los Angeles and community is truly inspiring. I'm so grateful to have you by my side. I thought that was so sweet. And she also credited everyone who contributed to her amazing look. Earrings and ring by the incredible Sarah Hindler, necklace Heart You by Established Jewelry, dress Alice McCall Pty Limited from Lindsay J. Price, and her watch is from Freestyle Watches. That is Georgie's watch. Wow. Hashtag Super Lily. Hashtag Pacemakers Club. And the photo was by Alberto Rodriguez Forgetti. So what did you think of Meghan's red dress? First and foremost, I have to say, before we talk about this look, I have to give my respect to the original look. The 2021 look with the overskirt was so iconic and so unexpected, especially red from head to toe, especially with the overskirt and all the additional fabric. I thought it was just so iconic. And we rarely get these over the top looks from Meghan. And so even with that, she managed to make it her own. She did not let the dress wear her. She wore the dress. And so I love when we got genuine princess moments from Meghan where she went all out. And so that dress is still one of my favorites. I was so excited to see her repurpose it because it is one of my favorite looks. Not just mine, it's actually one of the most iconic looks from any royal ever. And it's always ending up on those lists. Even I used to do a lot of those best fashion moments for formal wear, best charitable moments, best interview looks of Meghan's. And this look was almost always on every list if it was appropriate. And so to see it repurposed, I was actually quite excited. I was so happy to see her wear it again. I honestly didn't think that she would because she has so many freaking options and she has a lot of stylish moments. I just thought she would keep giving us new ones. But one of the things that I did not expect that she would take an iconic look and repurpose it in a new way. And boy, did she nail it. One of the things that I love about the fact that she repurposed this is not only that it's sustainable and it's ethical and it's great for the environment, it's also cost friendly to repurpose iconic pieces or expensive pieces or just anything that you wear. Wearing something one time is ridiculous. And I love that she is a realistic, relatable, and genuine person. And she is not above re-wearing things. I actually love that she does this because it's actually a testament to her style. She can take something that we've already seen her in and make it new and fresh. Not everybody can do that. Some people really are slaves to labels. She is not. She will wear what makes sense for her, high end, low end, expensive, cost friendly, whatever, and she'll make it her own, including incredible ball gowns. I loved the original look. First of all, I want to just say, when she wore the original look in 2021 with the overskirt, no one expected it. It hadn't been in line with the pattern of outfits that she'd worn up until that point, especially with the overskirt. So we loved, at least me and the people who follow this channel, love when she gave us really over the top formal wear because she nails it every time. And it was really exciting to see her in that. I also felt like her going for classy, revealing nature of the dress was just spot on. It was a masterclass in formal wear, being a little alluring, but not over the top and inappropriate. It was perfect. It was also appropriate for the event that she attended in 2021 because it was black tie formal. And so having the overskirt made more sense. But with this event, there's a red carpet. She's going to be going solo. She wore less jewelry. She wore her hair down with the beachy waves. She removed the overskirt. She obviously did a few tweaks to the dress itself and she made it new and fresh for now. And I love the way she chose to wear it. I also appreciate the fact that because the original wear of the gown was iconic and it's always referenced, she knew going into, or at least I assume she knew going into the rewear that it would have to be a completely different look, and she nailed it. And in doing that, in my personal opinion, and in doing that, she almost made it impossible impossible to compare the looks because they aren't the same. The only thing that is the same is the dress itself, but it's worn completely different, almost like by two different people. So it's almost like the way she wore it then made sense for then and the event. The way she wore it this past weekend made sense for this event and in this time in her life. And in my opinion, you really can't compare the two as much as you can just appreciate the two. I love that she gave us both looks. Now, I know a lot of people had really strong opinions about the overskirt. Some people were like, no, it's not the same without the overskirt. And some people were like, oh, thank God I hated all that fabric. And my personal opinion is this: with the additional fabric, it made sense for her to wear her hair up because the moment in that look was the overskirt. It was something different. It's not done all the time, and it has to be done the right way. So by going demure on the makeup and the hair and kind of scaling back so that the fabric of that train could shine was the right way to go about it, because that was part of the moment. It was daring. It was something different. And it was very, very peak royal. Now with this, it's a little bit more modern without the overskirt. Now that she doesn't have the overskirt and it doesn't have to call for its own moment and its own attention, she's able to wear her hair down and give you a lot more up top. I've talked a lot about one of the things that Meghan uses in her arsenal is balance. When it comes to her style, she is always extremely balanced. It's not necessarily about giving it all you got and wearing every single piece of jewelry you've ever owned so that they know you own it and it looks good and you want to show it here and there and you want to do your hair all kinds of ways. She's not one of those people that feels like I've got to give it all right now. She understands the concept of I've got time. We'll get to it. If I want to wear my hair down, then I'll wear my hair down. But that means I'm not going to wear necessarily overstated earrings. If I want to wear overstated earrings, then I'm probably going to pull my hair back so that you can see them. And I'm maybe not going to do a big necklace because I'm giving you the earrings. I don't have to do everything right now all the time. I can give you less because less is more, and there's always balance. So if I'm not going to give you the flair and the drama of the overskirt, then I'm going to let you have the drama of the hair. If I'm not going to give you the drama of the hair, then I'm going to give you a little bit more of a bold eye. I feel like in this, the cleavage was a bit of the moment. I also felt the wearing of this dress this time was extremely strategic. Now, the first time I complimented the dress, and we talked about it because I said, with it being so revealing in certain areas, there's a lot of arm, a lot of back, and there is the dip in the middle where it doesn't give you cleavage, but the cleavage is implied. It's a drop. And so it gives you a little bit of an implication that there's cleavage, but she is perfectly covered up from every single angle. You aren't getting any skin below the armpit and above the navel. You just think you are. There's a bit of an implied sexy, which makes it more alluring. It's not all in your face, but the implication of it is very demure. It's very reserved and it's very classy. It's not all in your face, especially with the dress being red. Now, because we have all this skin and having the overskirt, she did have her hair pulled back, like I said, and the overskirt was the moment. There's a lot of additional fabric, which balanced it out. I'm giving you a lot of skin up here, but you're getting nothing down here. And so now that she's re-wearing the dress and she doesn't have the additional fabric, now it could be seen as a lot more sexy because, again, now the focus is no longer on the overskirt. This focus is on this skin that's here in the middle and all the arm that she's giving you. And again, still alluring and sexy, but not overstated and not overdone. And because she's showing a lot of skin and now there's no overskirt, now she balances it out with the hair. She covers a lot more of herself by having her hair down. It's all strategic and it's all about balance. So she gives you the personal message of still classy, still demure, still laid back. And I love the beachy waves, which still relaxed no matter how formal. For me personally, because the looks are so different, because they both offer something different and it's the same dress worn completely differently, I actually can't compare and determine which one I like more. I'll just say I appreciate the presence of both looks because they're both great. And I hope to see her repurpose a few more of her very iconic looks to see what she does with them in this new era in her life. I'm excited to see what she does with them. But that doesn't change the fact that you likely have an opinion, and I want to hear your opinion down in the comments or in the live chat below. Okay. So obviously, I like the dress a lot. But it wasn't even just the dress. I actually just really loved that look. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was elegant, but also very sexy. And something that I forgot to highlight I thought I did, but maybe I accidentally edited it out, was the slit up the middle. And I actually love that the slit was up the middle and not on the side of the dress, because with the slit up the middle, you actually don't get a in your face skin moment. Again, it's implied. So as she walks, you see little bits of her legs, but you never just get thigh in your face. Like you don't get that. And again, I don't know who to credit with that, but I absolutely loved that she was intentional about that dress from top to freaking bottom. And it definitely paid off, because not only was she a focus of the night, she was the focus of the night. And with that attention, she definitely gave credit to the hospital. She was very intentional. That red carpet was one of the best red carpets I've ever seen her walk. She did such an amazing job stopping and talking to people. She was having fun. She was taking pictures with other people. She was communing. She was posing. She just definitely looked in her element, but it was never overdone. I really appreciate that she takes her time and she does these moments really well, because she's intentional about it. A lot of people will not everybody's a Duchess, but a lot of celebrities will take the red carpet moment and forget why they're there, and they kind of treat the red carpet like a night out. And for Meghan, it looks like she was having fun, but this absolutely was a work event. She was definitely doing her job as an advocate and a humanitarian and a diplomat. She was definitely making it known why she was there and putting the focus back on the hospital. And what's great because of that is all the articles that are covering her. And there have been, 100 so far? I think at our last count it was like 111. There have been over 111 articles about her dress and her appearance at this event. All of them quote her comments about the hospital. And so that's why I really appreciate that she takes her time and she does these events. But because we know there's a lot that she could be doing. I mean, she and Harry are two of the busiest people on the freaking planet. But what I love about it is that she's using that shine that she gets and that platform to highlight something very important. And so I want to get to some of the comments that you guys made. Absolutely. G-Town says the red dress, the legs, she was amazing. She used her elegance and fame to promote a great cause. Absolutely. And a lot of awareness, because a lot of people might even live in LA and not even know about all the great things they do. So it's great that she used that moment to highlight them. All right, let's start with this comment. Hi, Lottie. It's good to see you. I'm going to do all of Lottie's comments in a row. Lottie says, Sharion, I haven't seen you for a minute. I miss you. It's good to see you back. I missed you too. I'm so glad to be back. Hopefully I don't have to leave again. It's been good to be back and working on this for a little while. Lottie says, the haters are going stock raving mad that they can't get enough of Meghan. Whoo. Okay. So for those of us who've kind of been in the trenches, I guess, of like defending Meghan for a while, we remember what it was like around like 2021 to the beginning of 2022 or the end of 2022. Like, I feel like that was just like, woo, like some of the worst coverage of Meghan by the media and social media. And it was pretty bad at times where people were saying some ugly things. And it was almost like, I guess the word I want to use is feverish. Like people were feverishly attacking her online and feverishly attacking her in tabloids and in the media and stuff like that. And this past weekend, when she put on that red dress, it almost gave me whiplash, because I was like, no, we're back to that. Because when I logged on and saw not only that she was trending in the top 3 spots for a minute, but the like different versions of her name was Princess Meghan, Duchess Meghan, Meghan Markle. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what did I miss? And so I saw the dress and I was like, okay, great. We're all praising this because this is a great look and this is a great event. But it brought out the freaking trolls, and it almost like reignited some of the more ugly of the trolls, and they were losing their mind. But I'm going to tell you what they're not used to is the fact that because Harry and Meghan are literally living on their terms now. So like they no longer have that transition period that they were in where they were leaving the royal family, trying to establish what was going to happen from this point forward, trying to get their story out. They're out of that phase. And one of the things that I love is that because we understand their platform now and we're able to promote the good that they're doing because they're back to work, that's the full focus and we don't really have to worry about that stuff. What I love is that the trolls, the derangers and all of them, they don't know how to operate with the Sussex squad who doesn't take the bait anymore. And that's the one thing I noticed immediately is like they were dying for attention. Like it was to the point where they were like, don't you want to hit back at me? Don't you want to prove what I'm saying is a lie? Like it was feverish, but it was so dang comical. I was like, look at them. They're squirming like tadpoles. They just want attention, y'all. And what I love is that the squad, like some people were responding when it was getting kind of ugly, like fact checking, but no one was just going back and forth, not any of the bigger platforms. And it was hilarious because you could tell it was so different because in the days of old, when we really were out here defending them, because what was going on then that Harry and Meghan have done a great job of kind of putting the kibosh on now. But what was going on then was a lot of those social media talking points would become articles. A lot of those social media talking points from derangers and those lies, mainly from those 81 accounts owned by a certain someone, those were mainly getting picked up by big publications. Even some of my tweets defending Meghan and Harry were in like random magazines, like online magazines and articles. And people were sending like, hey, they quoted you. And I would just email them and say, hey, you don't have my permission to use that. And they would argue with me. It's a public platform, blah, blah, blah. We would go back and forth all day, every day. But it was bad. And it got ugly because what we were doing then was not only defending Harry and Meghan, Archie, Doria, like the family, but what we were doing was preventing a lot of that from entering these bigger platforms without a counter. And so back then it was necessary. Well, now Harry and Meghan have done a wonderful job of establishing that they will communicate on their own behalf. They've done a great job of establishing their transparency that we have now come to expect from them. And they've done a great job of building an exceptional comms team, which we'll talk about in a minute, an exceptional comms team that now, whenever these bigger platforms want to quote or want to have a story, they can actually get an answer from Harry and Meghan, and they won't have to kind of wade through the pits of social media. So now that we're in a new time, a new era, the squad doesn't really respond to the nonsense. We just kind of let them flounder. And I can't tell you not only how proud I was that the counterparts weren't just egging the stories on like the negative side, but what I loved was getting on there and just seeing the squad celebrate. Like they were trying so hard to infiltrate spaces and like get attention and argue. And the squad was like, anyway, so did you see her hair? It was amazing. It was so funny. Even like people posting her on Instagram, something I've noticed is that people who post Meghan or Harry on Instagram, they'll often turn off their comments because derangers have truly taken over just Meta, Facebook and Instagram. Derangers have really taken over those spaces. They're everywhere. I can't tell y'all how often, if I even breathe about Harry and Meghan, what do you know? They just come at me and we go back and forth. But what I love is that now the people who posted her, they leave the comments open. Delete. We're not going to argue with you. We just going to have our fun. I can't tell you how impressed I was, but Lottie, yes, it seemed like that red dress, it sparked a fury and it was funny. It was hilarious. And they were just over there fighting amongst themselves like they should, like the losers that they are. One more comment that I want to highlight from Lottie was they wanted to know, where's Meghan? Well, here she is, signed, sealed, and delivered. No, but you're right. They really were working overtime to the hashtag, where is Meghan? Fool, she was just in Nigeria. Fool, she was just in Colombia. Fool, she was just in Canada. Like, we've been seeing Meghan all year long. This has actually been one of the more active years for Meghan and Harry. What do you mean, where's Meghan? She's working. Like, literally, you can just go to Sussex.com and ask, where's Meghan? And you'll probably get a response like, oh, we're working on this. They were really trying to have a moment. But what they're not asking is, what kind of cancer did Kate have? I really want to know that. What was the cancer? Like, what form of cancer? What form of cancer does either of them have, her or Charles? Because so much of the conversation around Kate's cancer has been hush-hush and been aloof. And listen, I'm not putting anything out there that I don't believe she had cancer, etc. I don't know. I don't know enough to know because she's not sharing enough for us to actually have an informed decision. So instead of saying, where's Meghan? Someone who you can literally track her movements. She's out all the time, guys. I mean, they were also in Jamaica. Like, they've been everywhere. Instead of asking, where is Meghan? y'all need to ask, like, so Kate, what was going on? What was going on with the body double? I need to see, this is what I don't want to regress. We're having a good time. I don't want to regress, but here's what I'm still irritated by. Finding out that Kate had cancer didn't answer any of the questions that I had. Not one of them. Who was the woman at the farm shop? Who was that? Why did the car have 5 wheels? Why? Who was in that car driving? It was not Kate. It absolutely was not Kate. What the heck was going on? Why did you edit the photos? Not to mention the timeline now that video came out with her and her family walking through the woods and walking on the beach. When that came out saying that she was now she was done with chemo and cancer-free, which is something she quoted in the video. She said cancer-free in the video. When that came out, I went back and I looked at the Father's Day photos, and it's the same aesthetic. Now, Kate was claiming to have photographed the Father's Day photo for William and the kids. But someone else shot her cancer-free video, and it was the same exact aesthetic, and it looked like the same setting. The kids' hair and their clothes weren't identical, but their hair was very similar, like length and color and cut and style. And the reason I find that to be really important is because we know that Kate did change clothes for different scenes of that video, because she's in 2 different outfits throughout the video, which means her kids could have changed clothes too. So were those Father's Day photos taken the same day they shot the cancer-free video? And if so, if you're announcing that you're cancer-free in September, or was it August, like late summer, let's just say late summer was when the video came out, but these photos and videos were taken on Father's Day, early summer. What is the timeline here? You found out you had cancer in January. You're cancer-free by June. Nothing is making sense. And you don't tell us until late summer. Instead of asking, where is Meghan? Genuinely, you don't have to listen to us, but genuinely, British media, y'all need to really ask Kate some serious questions. What the hell is going on, girl? What is going on? Even the conflicting statements about how much she planned to work while she was on bed rest, and then finding out she wasn't on bed rest. She was working, but in a limited capacity. And like, y'all are asking the wrong questions and about the wrong people, because we don't have to ask about Harry and Meghan. They're showing us, they're sharing it with us, and they're telling us. They're trying to deflect, because that video, the cancer-free video, really did bring about a lot of negative press, more than they probably anticipated. And they were looking for anything to get at Meghan about. And so they thought, they did the jewelry thing. Oh, we think she stole some jewelry. That didn't work. Then they were like, oh, okay, well, let's just come at her about where's she been. Y'all do know that woman has kids, and y'all did just see her 30 days ago. I don't think you can say where's somebody that you haven't seen in 30 days. I think 30 days is a good amount of time to not see a public figure. I think they go back and work. Maybe they're just surprised someone's actually working, because they're not used to that with their royals. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, the fury that was coming from some of those haters was quite hilarious to me. I saw some of the comments. I just said, oh, well, y'all have fun playing that little negative playpen by yourself. I'm going to go back and look at this hair, because girl, you look good. You look good. She definitely rocked that look. Now, let me get off my soapbox. Y'all know I'll go here all day. Let me go back and read some comments. This is from Lungelo. I'm so sorry. Ngumbane. I'm so sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. Evening, everyone. Just wanted to say hi. How are y'all doing? Also, Sharion, love your content. Keep growing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I hope you're enjoying. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Claudia Sims. Claudia Sims says, Meghan is a photographer's dream. She's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's talk about it, because not only is she a photographer's dream, but she's pretty. She has something to say when you ask her a question on the red carpet. She has a really great speaking voice too. Her makeup is wonderful, and it photographs well. So I saw in the video and in the photographs that her makeup looked the same, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you'll see somebody, Kim Kardashian, this happens to her a lot. I don't know who does her makeup, but sometimes she works with someone who goes way too heavy on some kind of powder. I'm not a makeup girl. I do my makeup, and I've shown my members how I do my makeup, but I'm not like one of those that's like, oh, I got to have the new this. I don't even know what half of that stuff is called. I just know this is the order it's supposed to go. Sharion. So I can't call what it is, but sometimes Kim Kardashian will wear something that when you photograph it with a flash, her whole eye is just white. And it looks like a raccoon, or the opposite. It looks bad. And then I've seen several other celebrities have that too, where they'll try to do a contour. And when you hit them with a flash, it shows like the streaks and they be looking so ashy and it's just bad. But something that I noticed is not only does Meghan's makeup match and it looks good and it's perfectly skin tone match. I actually was looking to see if she was wearing any. I was like, I wonder if they actually put any base on her, because that just looks like glossy skin. But again, the experts know what they're doing. But when she was, oh my God, I got a hiccup. Let me hurry up before I hiccup again. When she was photographed, her face looked exactly the same as when she was in videos. And I said, oh, they did it. They did that. She looked glossy and dewy. Sorry. She looked glossy and dewy. And her makeup was pretty and it wasn't overstated. Like going to an evening affair, you might be tempted to go with a big bold eye. And we've seen her do that a couple of times. And I love it. But I also love that because she was giving us like the boom with her dress, she went understated with the makeup and went big and bold with the hair. Absolutely loved it. She looked fantastic. She is a photographer's dream. She will pose. She'll look good. Like she poses, she stops, she knows where her angles are. I was like, you better work, girl. I was in those videos. Let me drink some water. I'm not going to try to tough it out. Okay, there we go. By the camera lens. By the camera lens says, hi, Sharion and Squatties. Sharion, some off topic. Don't you think that the Waleses are training their little ones to behave like Harry with of course the urging by the British monarchy needs to look into? Yeah, with Louis, I have always felt like they kind of encourage Louis to act like that. He can be rambunctious. I also know that sometimes kids just have those phases. I've had several kids in my family who have those phases. I had those phases where you're just kind of like really tactile. I love pushing the envelope and I like to be mischievous. And it was just a good time. But where Louis kind of veers off, and that is a child, so I'm not going to say anything negative about that precious boy, but where he veers off is that his behavior is actually bad behavior, like hitting. He can be kind of abusive. Like his acting out sometimes is a little bit surprising because we have been seeing like George and Charlotte. We've been seeing them through all of those ages and they never really went that far. Now he is the classic case of like the youngest kid. But I do think he's being encouraged. I think that they are wanting to fill that role. I think they enjoy having that storyline going and they need to fill that role of the mischievous youngest brother. I hope that through the telling of Spare, I hope that through Harry being as transparent as he is, they rethink their whole operation, their modus operandi for the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and beyond that doesn't work in 2024. Like he's allowed to be a real person. He doesn't have to be a caricature. And just like Charlotte, she doesn't have to be a caretaker. They're really pushing this caretaker role on Charlotte. I noticed that like all the articles that come out about little Charlotte, a literal child is like caretaking and nurturing. She's taking care of her mom with cancer. She gets her brothers in line. She's been learning to cook with her mom. And I'm like, she's a kid. She doesn't need to be being brought up like a traditional wife. She needs to be enjoying her life as a kid. If that baby wants to go play hockey, let that baby go play hockey. She's not going to have to be, going on engagements anytime soon. She doesn't have, like, if she wants to learn to cook and she wants to nurture, that's fine. But all the kids should be learning how to do those things. And all the kids should be enjoying those things. They should all get outside time. They should all learn about being personally responsible. Why reserve these, Charlotte is her mother's biggest caretaker and she gets the boys in line. That's not her job. Why are y'all parentifying this little girl who has staff just like the rest of her siblings? Her brothers aren't having to take care of anybody. So why does she? I feel like they're really trying to fit all of them into a mold that works best for the media and what they're prepared to report about them. And I do think something needs to be done about it. And I do think with Harry being as vocal as he is, they might have 1, 2, or 3 problems on their hands when it's time for them to evolve or to elevate in the ranks and start to work as a royal. They might not be so interested. because you can fool a lot of people, but a lot of times kids pay attention. You might think that you fooled them, but sometimes kids like, yeah, I know my uncle. The stuff y'all saying about him isn't true. Like you and I here, we have been covering Harry for a while, but I don't know him. I've never met him personally. I don't know him, but I know my uncle. I know my cousins. I know my aunt. So if someone was saying my uncle was all these terrible things and I know who my uncle is, I'm going to be inclined to hear my uncle out. And if my uncle has told his story and it's accessible to me in some way, and I find out how they treated my uncle, I might be inclined to do something about that, or at least protect myself from having the same fate and not having to deal with those same hurdles. So they're going to have a problem on their hand, I assume, because those kids seem like they're a lot more aware, especially with just having social media, with having internet, with having friends at school who have a lot of access. It's harder and harder to hide things from kids these days. And for those children, it might be a good thing, because I do think they're in a world that is built on deception, and that's not healthy for anybody. Hi, Melissa Lindsay. Melissa Lindsay says, yes, the original look was more on the side of elegant ball gown. It was. Oh, God, I love that look. I wish Mattel, maybe they have already. I need to check. I wish Mattel would do a Barbie doll or some sort of like collector's doll of her in that dress. Oh, gosh, it's so pretty. The latest look was wow. As you said, she looks stunning. Stopped me in my tracks. Me too. When I said, what? Oh, she did it. All I could think was va, 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 voom. That's all I could think. Oh, my hiccups are gone now. I can say it. Va, 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 voom. That's all I could think. Wasn't expecting this. Just beautiful. She nailed it. She did a wonderful job. Who was her tailor? Now that I want to know. She doesn't gatekeep, so I hope she exposes who her tailor is. Hey, G-Town says, Meghan made the move to highlight a hospital. I love that. Me too. I love that. Sticking to what's important. Absolutely. Okay, so we have chatted a lot. Let's get to the next segment so that we can continue the conversation on the other side. The Chief Impact Officer of BetterUp, also known as Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, sat down with Pau Gasol to discuss the power of flow. Pau Gasol then chatted with Sports Illustrated to discuss why he supports BetterUp, his interview with Prince Harry, and a couple of Lakers championships. There's a whole lot more, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. But first, let's get started with the interview with Prince Harry.
How do you become one of the best basketball players of all time? It takes a positive mindset, hard work, and an amazing team. Flow, a state of complete focus and absorption in an activity. With flow, both the challenge and our skills are stretched, leading us to peak performance, fulfillment, and greater well-being. As an NBA champion, an Olympic medalist, and philanthropist, all through channeling a state of flow. The goal is to discover how all of us can integrate these simple practices into our daily activities. Let's get started.
Where did it begin for you? Well, it started with my parents, because they both kind of played basketball, at an amateur level. But they exposed me to the game. So I tried different sports. But at the end of the day, I fell in love with basketball. And I realized that basketball was giving me an opportunity to thrive.
You played at an elite level your whole career, and you managed to maintain peak performance. But the key to that peak performance and maintaining that, experiencing flow or finding flow, right? So can you explain to me and everybody watching this, how do you find that flow?
So I think it starts with a lot of preparation, a lot of work, a sense of direction, and a sense of purpose, where first of all, you acknowledge that this is what I love doing. This is what we love doing. This is what we're here for. And that's our goal. That's, to be the best that we can be, to be the best team out there.
Part of the success of finding flow is completely lose yourself within the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, the sport, right? Because there's no self-consciousness. You are just throwing yourself into this. You have no concept of time apart from the clock that's counting down. So obviously you're very aware and conscious of that. Is it more about focusing on the outcome? Is it all about winning?
You kind of have that sense of playing for something bigger, which is humbling. At the same time, it also, you feel the responsibility, but you also feel the privilege of doing something special.
Who pushed you the most?
Yeah.
Was it you? Was it the coach? Was it your teammates?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of stories of you and Kobe having this thing where you could basically communicate to each other without. I mean, a lot of it was maybe eyes. You could preempt where he was going to be, and likewise with you as well.
I don't think I've ever had a teammate like Kobe that pushed me the way he did, and not just me, but everyone else. But he understood that for me, and raising up my level was going to give us and him the best chance to win. So he set the tone.
And presumably there was lots of times where individually or as a team, you guys lost your flow. How do you get it back?
Right.
When everyone's looking at you, the noise, the crowd's cheering, and you feel it. You can't say it to each other, but you're all looking in each other's eyes. You know that you're out of flow, you've lost it. How do you get that back?
It starts with what we call the emotional leaders on our team. It could be the coach or it could be a player. Those emotional leaders recognize those moments where we're kind of getting off track. It could be a time where we connect and say, hey, let's figure this out. Let's go out there. Let's kick some butt, And so those moments were, I remember vividly a moment where Derek said, hey, it's time to dig in right here, right now. This is the moment that we need to step up and go and get after it. It's really not about the destination. It's about the journey. And that's what's really fulfilling. It's the accumulation of all those moments, those ups and downs. When I started playing as a kid, when I played my first professional game with FC Barcelona, when I went to the NBA, my last Olympics in Tokyo, all that is my highlight. It's not about one day. It's not about one championship. It's not about 1 year, one moment. It's the accumulation of all those moments. And that's what makes me the most proud. We all have our different journeys. Let's embrace them. Let's make them the best they can be.
You can find this full interview on betterup.com. It's available now. And as soon as you get on betterup.com, there's actually a banner at the top of the screen that you can select Watch Now. But for my Patreon members, it is in full on my Patreon as well. Feel free to check it out there. So I also want to talk about Pau Gasol's thoughts on this interview, as well as other parts of the interview that he wanted to elaborate on in SportsIllustrated.com. I thought this interview was incredible, but I also thought his sit down with Sports Illustrated was also really good. And I appreciate that he takes the time to not only credit BetterUp for all the amazing work that they do, but coming from someone who's as esteemed as he is in philanthropy, as well as in his career, in all of his career efforts and all of his business efforts, it really has a lot of weight. His words do pack a punch, and I appreciate him taking an analytical eye to BetterUp and choosing to support them, get behind them, and work with them. It says a lot. This interview is on SI.com, the official website for Sports Illustrated, and it's titled Exclusive Q&A, Pau Gasol in conversation with Prince Harry for BetterUp, Lakers championship hopes, and more. The two-time NBA champion talks peak performance, his favorite under-the-radar players to watch, and JJ Redick. This was written by Liam McKeon. Now, we're going to just stop after the Prince Harry portion and the BetterUp portion. But again, you can find this full interview on SI.com, and it's linked in the description box below under sources. For many years, Pau Gasol was at the forefront of the basketball world as a two-time champion with the Los Angeles Lakers and a mainstay of international competition, leading his home country of Spain to 3 Olympic medals. Now retired, Gasol is the president of Gasol 16 Ventures and the Gasol Foundation. His latest partnership is with BetterUp, the largest mental health and coaching startup in the world dedicated to helping people live their lives with greater clarity, purpose, and passion. As part of the partnership, Gasol was interviewed by BetterUp's Chief Impact Officer, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. Released on Thursday, Gasol reveals in the interview his advice for maintaining peak performance and how he finds his, quote, flow, a state of complete focus and absorption in an activity. In a wide-ranging conversation, Gasol also touches upon his basketball journey, his time as Kobe Bryant's teammate, the importance of chemistry, battling and overcoming fatigue, and more. The interview can be viewed here for non-BetterUp members. Well, I'm not going to click there, and I don't want anyone else to click there. I want you to go join BetterUp. It has a lot of amazing resources. In addition to not only this interview, but you get the annual BetterUp Workday, or the BetterUp live events, where it's like that 3 to 4 day event where they have speakers. You have access to that, and you have that all year round. Even after the live event is over, you can rewatch as much as you want. You have access to coaches. You can even become a mentor yourself. There is so much amazing content on betterup.com, and I don't want you to click here. I want you to click betterup.com and become a member. Join me. Gasol spoke exclusively with Sports Illustrated about his work with BetterUp, his experience speaking with Prince Harry, and moments from his basketball career that reflect the mission of BetterUp. Additionally, Gasol touched upon the upcoming Lakers season, Victor Wembanyama, and more basketball storylines from this year. I apologize, it's the first time I've seen that name, and I'm pretty sure I did not pronounce it 100% correct, but please charge it to my head and not my heart. Sports Illustrated, quote, "Why did you decide to work with BetterUp?" Pau Gasol. In our toughest and most challenging moments, I believe it is important to have a coach, a trusted voice who understands what you're going through, to provide an objective perspective and help you break through any barriers that might be standing in your way. BetterUp is one of the inventors and pioneers of virtual coaching. And as someone who attributes so much of my career success to the phenomenal coaches I've had throughout the years, I love the idea that BetterUp was offering a similar resource for for employees, leaders, and organizations worldwide. In the same way a coach and player relationship is vital to success on and off the court, BetterUp understands the pivotal relationship between organizations and their employees and what is needed to drive successful results. What about the company's mission appealed most to you? Pau Gasol. During my basketball career, I learned how intertwined the body and mind are. As important as physical fitness and health are, that is only one part of the equation. Your emotional well-being also plays an equally important role in your success and what you can accomplish. Someone can be at the top of their game physically, but if their mind isn't where it needs to be, they're leaving a lot of potential performance on the table. BetterUp doesn't just understand this concept. They make it their mission to help people tap into that potential and reach peak performance through the coaching they provide their members. I think it's important that people see the connection between body and mind, and I believe BetterUp is helping bring attention to that, which is a mission I want to support. I want to pause there. Do you guys remember a few years ago when Simone Biles backed out of, I believe it was the Olympics or it was either some huge global competition? I can't remember, but I feel like it was the Olympics. And she backed out because she said there was a disconnect between her mind and her body, and it posed a risk to her. And a lot of people gave her flack. And honestly, that was the first time I really took just a deep look at the connection between the mind and the body, especially when doing an activity, especially a risky activity. And it was one of those moments where I'd always been a fan of Simone Biles, but it was one of those moments that cemented her as one of my favorites, as someone to watch on a real basis outside of her sport. And I grew a deep respect for her courage in that moment, because it takes a lot to not only acknowledge that there's a problem, especially when you're an extremely driven person and you just feel like I can do it no matter what, but it takes an incredible amount of courage and strength to admit when you are not quite ready. And I had a decision to make kind of along those lines a few years ago when I was in an extremely not high profile, but an extremely high position in my company. I was VP of customer care. I had been working my whole life to become as close as I could get to C-suite. That was like the next target, was to break into C-suite and get the next promotion. And I had been making some serious moves, really working hard, overworking myself to get to the C-suite. And I was very close. I was at a VP level. So I only had 3-4 years before I could really break into C-suite. And my goal was to break into C-suite before 35. That was my goal. And I was so close. And so I worked really hard and overcome a lot in the corporate world. Y'all know I've talked about it before: sexual assault, a lot of career barriers, education barriers. At times I wasn't quote unquote qualified for the roles that I got, and I had to get up to speed real quick. And that took a lot of dedication. But when I burnt out, I really thought I was going crazy, because my mind was telling me, you're not ready for this on all levels. You're not ready. You've worked too fast, too hard, and you've gotten here a little too quickly, and you have yet to take a breath. And it was like I was mentally drowning. And what's even scarier for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but what was so scary for me was when I realized that I was mentally drowning, I couldn't find one specific thing that was wrong, meaning I was incapable of just targeting that thing, getting it fixed real quick, and getting back on my way. And it really made me focus inward. And I realized then I had a lot to do. When I focused inward, y'all, it was cobwebs, it was dust. I was like, has anybody been here in a while? Like, I walk in and I'm like, bring a broom, because I had just not done any mental or emotional work in a very long time. And what's even crazier is a big part of my career was in the mental health care field. I worked as an operations manager and an operations director for several behavioral health practices in different states. So I was managing the operations for several really big companies with providers all over the nation that focus on mental health, but I'm not absorbing any of the information that's around me or that I have access to. Mind you, I'm working with some of the best providers in the world, and I'm not taking the time to tap into myself. I'm worried about getting clients their healthcare needs filled, and I'm not taking care of my own. But it took a lot for me to admit now is the stopping point. I need to pause, not quit. I need to pause and I need to focus inward. And that was the hardest decision I've made as an adult. And it really took a lot of support from my husband and my family and people who love me to say, no, I've been wanting you to do this for a while. It was a relief, but it took a lot. And it was years and years and years of people saying, Sharion, you have to check in. You have to slow down. You're way too focused. And then I hit a wall. And I had to admit that. That was just in my career, something that other people are not observing necessarily. It's not available to the public. I don't have massive worldwide fans who were determined to see my goals through. It was really just me and my close loved ones. And I had a hard time admitting that I needed a pause and a break, and I really needed to do some inner work before I could get back to my real work. I cannot imagine what that must have been like for the coaches, the team managers, the fans, her support team, her family, her friends, to have all these people around her essentially rooting her on, but also depending on her in some way. And she had to say, I got to pause. There's a disconnect between my mind and my body. And I remember when she said that, and I'm back to talking about Simone Biles. I remember when she said that, it came a year after I took my break. And I remember listening to how she spoke about the disconnect between her mind and her body. And I remember saying, my God, where are these words elsewhere? I need to hear these. If I had heard these words elsewhere, I might not have actually reached the point of burning out. I might have actually been able to veer back on course in a more consistent manner. And I was just so not only proud of her, but relieved for her that she actually had the courage to say, this is where we get off the train and we'll get back on when I'm ready, knowing how much pressure she was probably under. And then to find that the follow-up to that was people globally bashing her and calling her sensitive and a pansy. And I thought, how evil. First of all, you have no idea what type of risk she's putting her body through. Just doing one of those moves would put most of us in a hospital. I know good and well, just running down that blue pad whenever she's about to jump on the beam, just running down the pad, I would be out for 6 weeks. So what she does, I can't even imagine even attempting to do. So if she says she needs 10 weeks to get back ready, then she needs 11. If she says I need 7 weeks, give her 8. Like, take care of Simone as she takes care of herself, but do not give her flack. And so seeing her actually take that moment to get reconnected with her mind and her body was not only courageous, and had she never returned, I never would have been upset with her. I would have still been very impressed. But the fact that she did return and dominate in Paris the way that she did this year, hats off to her, scalps off to her. Like, I'm just so proud of her. And so to hear Pau Gasol also echo some of that same sentiments of your mind and your body have to be connected, it really did bring me back to that moment of when I went from being a fan of Simone Biles. And I had the similar moment with Serena Williams, but I went from being a fan of Simone Biles to being an absolute unequivocal supporter of her and every single endeavor she chooses to take on. If she starts selling ant farms, I'm going to buy me an ant farm. If she gets a Barbie doll, I'm going to buy the Barbie doll. If she sells shoelaces, I'm getting me some Simone Biles shoelaces because I was that impressed and proud of her. We need to see more representation in that field and of mental health and mental health care in that field, in the field of sports. And I'm glad that Pau Gasol is also leading the way in that conversation. A lot of people will hear it from someone they admire because the Lakers are not only a dominant team and have millions and billions of fans worldwide, but Pau Gasol is a lot of people's favorite player and they trust what he has to say. So I'm glad that he's putting his reputation on the line to get behind something that's extremely important and that he believes in. And the corporate world was traditionally seen as something reserved for executives. What I love about BetterUp is their approach to coaching the entire workforce because everyone has the desire to learn and the need to grow. I also believe companies have realized that to continue growing and performing at a high level, they need to coach and empower every single one of their employees. So you've sat through many, many interviews over the course of your career. What was it like to be interviewed by Prince Harry? Pau Gasol. I had a wonderful time chatting with Prince Harry. He's an extremely accomplished individual and has done a lot for the world of sports through his work with the Invictus Games Foundation. He is someone who, like me, is dedicated to service and understands the role of mental fitness in overall performance. During my interview with him, I talked about how I sustain flow and peak performance during a game. Everything I talked about can be applied in the workplace when someone is facing a loss in flow or motivation. It was a great conversation that really resonated with me. Is there one particular experience or part of your NBA career that you feel showcases the sort of teamwork and resilience you spoke about with Prince Harry? Pau Gasol. I would say our championship in 2010 is a perfect example of the teamwork and resilience we discussed. Heading into Game 6, we were down 2-3 against the Celtics and knew that one more loss would be our last of the season. The Celtics team was unreal with 3 guys who went on to the Hall of Fame. But we had to be ready to battle and take this series to the full 7 games. As a team, we continued to practice, strategize, and dig deep to pull out all the possible energy we could for this stretch. As you know, we went on to win the final 2 games of the series and took home our 2nd NBA championship in a row. It's hard to win a championship and even harder to win 2 back-to-back championships. But having to overcome a deficit requires tremendous resilience, as well as physical and mental intensity. That's the sort of success BetterUp tries to bring to help organizations set themselves up for. The kind where leaders are able to help every member of a team reach their full potential. What strategies did you rely upon most as a basketball player when experiencing burnout or losing your flow? Pau Gasol. One of the most important things to achieve maximum performance, what we're describing here as flow, is to make sure that you take care of everything else in your life or around your life that gives you the ability to focus and give your best to your professional career. That means taking care of yourself outside of your profession, being in the right place emotionally, finding good balance. All of this will help you get to that high performance state. Trusting the amount of work and preparation that you put in before a big game, a big challenge, or a big moment also allows you to find that calmness and confidence in your delivery, which is so important to flow. And then also having a good leadership and great teammates who are moving in the same direction with you, who are cultivating the same mindset as you are, is also very, very important. You push each other and you hold each other accountable. You motivate each other on a daily basis to face critical moments where high performance will be needed to overcome adversity, and you work together to overcome tough competition. I highly recommend checking out the full interview between Pau Gasol and Prince Harry. It was very insightful, and I feel like they dropped a lot of really good advice and a lot of gems. And it's something that I'm going to be dissecting piece by piece on my own. I can tell a couple of times from now. I like to take these interviews and recap them here and talk about them here. But in my own time, when I have the ability to slow things down, I love watching these interviews and really taking them in and journaling about how I feel about what I've learned and what I've experienced, and how I can apply some of these principles and some of this advice to my own life, because both of these men are very high performing people who belong to very high performing organizations. Both of them are extremely philanthropic people. They have extremely successful careers, but they also are leaders in their respective fields, and they both have organizations, foundations, charities, or companies to run. And in Prince Harry's case, several, as well as Pau Gasol. He actually has several. And so they're both leaders as well. So I feel like even if you can't relate necessarily to the sports aspect, or if you can't necessarily relate to the career focused aspect, you can absolutely relate to being centered and having a state of flow where you can focus and be a high performer. I feel like all of us have areas in our lives where we want to be a high performer. And for myself, I have several. And I found this interview to be extremely insightful. I didn't play the full interview here, obviously, because one, I want people to be incentivized to go check it out on betterup.com. And then if you are on Patreon and you do have access to it on my Patreon, there is a link to sign up for a betterup.com membership. I love my membership. I am always on that website, so I highly recommend for other people to do so as well. I just wanted to take a super short break to say, if you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel. And if you are interested, feel free to participate in the live chat going on now, or feel free to leave a comment if you do not wish to engage in the live chat. Once again, I know I do this all the time. I'm enjoying a channel, I'm enjoying the video, I'm just having a great time, and I completely forget to hit subscribe. So please don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to comment if you wish, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so that the algorithm on YouTube knows that you like my content. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, so it's been a while since we talked. That was a long segment. I was like, good God, I'm gonna fall asleep because I know what I'm about to say. I'm about to fall asleep. Okay, so let's get to some of these comments. Y'all were showing out in the comment section. I've saved way too many, but I did see that person, and I think that's the conversation some of y'all are having in the live chat. I saw that person too, and I was like, what the hell? Okay, well, have fun, person. So I'm glad somebody got that out of there. Hi, Lakiva 1000. I really appreciate your support. Lakiva 1000 says, Sharon, your hair is so beautiful. Oh, thank you. I haven't worn it down in so long, but it's nice to be back. It's been like 2 weeks since I've had it down. Hi, Karen M. Karen M says, Sharion, tell me what cancer patient that comes back better than they started. That girl had a facelift. You can't answer something that you don't know about. Oh, that you know nothing about. Exactly. See, instead of the media asking, where is Meghan? They absolutely need to be knocking down the door of Kensington and begging her to answer some of their questions. Leave Meghan alone. We know where Meghan is. Y'all need to find out what's going on with y'all's princess. She was missing, then she wasn't missing, then she had the cancer, now she's free, cancer free. Like, girl, it's always something with you, Kate. I'm about sick of your ass. It's always something with her. So I need them to get the answers to that. I don't care about their perspective on Meghan. Meghan is over here doing her thing. If you want an opinion on Meghan, go to Sussex.com. That's the opinion people need to adopt from a media source. That's the only place you need to get your opinions about Meghan in here. For everything else, y'all need to go straight on back. You take UK tabloids and all y'all going over there and worry about your princess. You do that. We'll keep our royals. You keep yours. We're going to separate them. We're done. But anyway, it's always something with Kay, isn't it? Missing a body double. Hi, Church Nelly. It's good to see you. It's been a while, Church Nelly. Church Nelly says these derangers are addicted to Meghan. They need to see her to feed their hatred. They do. And what's even crazier is that they are obsessed with her. Those people love her, but in a very negative way. They are obsessed with her. And the only reason they hate her is because they're not her. And I'm not even trying to be cliche. They're just obsessed with her. They want to be her. They want to have the things that she has, and they want to attract people the way she attracts people. They want her light. And if they can't have it, which they can't, if they can't have it, they just want to stomp it out of her. And I'm so glad that she is protecting that little light of hers. I'm so sick of their nonsense. You are absolutely right, Church Nelly. Thank you for being here, and thank you for moderating. Hey, Mina Ruth, it's good to see you. Mina Ruth says, that part, why are they not worrying about the... Well, I was reading that a little too fast. I didn't have time to really vet it. She said, why are they not worrying about the broomstick heifer who went missing all those... Sorry, broomstick just kind of caught me off guard. But yes, like, why aren't y'all actually concerned? Like, aside from either whether you like Kate or not, is no one concerned about the crap show that they served up to us on a global stage and we're all supposed to just keep it pushing like nothing happened? Get out of here. They really took us for some fools. If it wasn't for the YouTubers calling it out, I don't think anyone would have even said anything about it in the media. That's the thing. Only people on YouTube were like, is no one else seeing this craziness? And they finally picked up the story, but they would have been perfectly fine with carrying on as if those antics were normal, and they absolutely weren't. It was a crazy day or a crazy year. Hey, Karen Warner, it's good to see you. Karen Warner says, love both looks, me too. Same dress is purposed for the two separate occasions, just right, no comparency. Is that the word? That's the first time I've ever heard the word like that. Okay, let's continue. They're both individuality and standalone. Love it. Always love. Slit up the middle, top and bottom, original. It was very original. We don't see slits like that very often. So I completely agree. I loved both looks. And I hope she repurposes it again. I hope she makes it a mini dress the next time. Let's just see it continue to change and shift and alter. Hi, Lottie. Lottie says they don't have cancer, neither one of them. That's what a lot of people feel, Lottie. A lot of people do feel like there's reason to be concerned about both of their stories, and they haven't given us a reason to not be concerned. So I would be inclined to feel the same way. Lottie went on to say, they're trying to make people believe that Harry and Meghan are no longer together. All I can say is wishful thinking. You know what, Lottie, you're right. It is wishful thinking. If I say it enough times, it'll come true. They probably got them some sparkly red heels and they're clicking their heels like Dorothy. I hope they break up. I hope they break up. As them and their little unhappy partners go back to bed every night and, hey, good night, have a good evening, and go back to sleep because they hate their partners and they hate their life. They don't want Harry and Meghan to be happy. I'm so sorry, but hating Harry and Meghan is not going to make your life any better to live. Go change your life instead of trying to take down theirs. And that's a productive way of going about your misery. Go challenge your misery instead of asking for company. Anyway, thank you for your comment, Lottie. Hey, Mina Ruth 2093 says, I'll tell you that broomstick doesn't have cancer. That's just my opinion. And she's using a serious illness to get sympathy. I have personally felt like, I'll say it like this because I don't want to just be ugly, especially with some of my new affiliations. Some of y'all know. I'll say it like this. For both Charles and Kate, cancer came at a very opportune time when they were being just ravaged for months about being the royal racists, and they were named as royal racists by their own friend, Piers Morgan, the ones who were concerned about how dark Archie's skin color would be. And Piers Morgan is the one who named Charles and Kate. He tried to lie on Omid Scobie, and Omid said, I have never written who those names were, although I know I haven't ever written them down. Piers is the one who outed them, and he was hoping that the media would pick up the story and blame Omid, and Omid was like, it is not me. And Piers is the one who outed them as Charles and Kate. And all year long, Charles and Kate were just getting curb stomped about the royal racism claims, and suddenly they're the two that get cancer. I'll say this. If they do have it, it's mighty convenient because now the story has changed. People don't care about the royal race anymore because our royals are in trouble. They're in dire need and they are sick. We have to be there for them. That's a terrible British accent. I'm gonna keep working on it. Y'all should, if you think that's bad, listen to my German accent. Woo! Pimsleur is sick of me, but they're making a lot of progress with me. So thank y'all. But regardless of that, they changed the whole narrative with the cancer thing. So now there's sympathy. And now instead of talking about how just insane they were and how racist they were for making those concerns, for having those concerns in the first place and then making them known to the parents, which is beyond insane. Instead, now they're talking about, their bravery as they continue to work, even though they're sick with cancer. Mind you, they've never really been one for work. Both of them been a little bit on the lazy scale, especially Kate. And so having cancer has only improved her standing on the global stage. And that's what's even worse. So yeah, they need to be a little bit more transparent. And how convenient, not only is it convenient that they got cancer at that time, but now never complain, never explain. They're not going to tell us anything. I'll say this though, if either of them want to keep up that never complain, never explain thing as an easy out, she better stop making videos. Because if you're setting the stage that, well, now I'm going to share things on my terms in these non-protocol ways, then now reporters should be able to ask you direct questions, and you should be required to give answers. Now you should explain because you bothered to before. So I would say if she gonna have to pick, she's trying to do 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You want to veer away from leaning into explaining your choices and decisions. You want to, if you're going to keep with the mum's the word, then you need to keep with mum's the word. And if not, then it should be the floodgates. Everyone should be able to ask you, or all the media should be able to ask you what was going on. And you should be able to answer direct questions if you're telling the truth. One of the telltale signs of a liar is that they cannot answer a direct question. And it bothers me. I remember when I used to work in the corporate world, I used to trip people up just by being extremely direct. I'm very friendly. But when I needed to know something, especially when I felt like somebody wasn't being honest with me, I would just ask a direct question. That's kind of why salespeople hated me, because they would give me all this pizzazz. If you work with my company, our software is the best. We do this, we do that. But do you do what I asked? Right. But we'll get to that. No, we need to get on that now. I don't want to get to that later. It's no point in you telling me everything else your service does if you don't tell me what you do that applies to my business at my price point. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, see, you pay for what you get, right? And what I want and what I'm asking to pay for what I want it makes sense. That's equitable. All this other stuff I don't need. Can you answer my direct question? We'll go back and forth until I got the number that I wanted and I got the service that I wanted. And if you aren't direct like that, especially as a woman and a minority woman, they will mow all over you. Oh, of course. Well, we do this and we do. I didn't ask for all that. I don't need them to change my light bulb and mow my lawn. I need to know that your call service will answer the phone on the weekend and leave a voicemail. Like, I don't need to know any of that other stuff. And so you have to be able to answer direct questions. And you can tell when someone is trying to play in your face when they're constantly giving you pizzazz and show and isn't it a great time and smoke and mirrors and nonsense. But you can't simply say, yes, I have insert form of cancer here. This is what we did to treat it. This is how I knew something was wrong. Early detection saved my life. This is how my family supported me. This is what happened when it got too bad. These were my symptoms. This is how I coped. And this is my new journey. If you can't just simply say that, we didn't ask her to tell us every single symptom and how it affected her body and her libido and her fatigue. We didn't ask any of that. We said, what form of cancer do you have? And she's not meeting us halfway. Same with Chucklehead Charles. Tell us what's going on. If you're going to tell us anything, at least make it the truth or don't say a word. None of it makes sense. And regardless of what form of cancer she has, regardless if she has cancer or not, it doesn't explain who was at the farm shop. I need to know why are y'all playing in our face with this fake person, this actress that y'all have pulled from the Disney discards? Who is this lady? Y'all had that lady trouting around, grinning from ear to ear, a whole 2 feet shorter than Kay. I said, enough of the nonsense. Now, see, I said I wasn't going to go on a tangent. G-Town says, P.S. You look amazing, Sharion. You dating? Well, thank you for the compliment, but I am married. You see this? Oh, we're gonna go in order. This is my granddaddy, but this is my proposal right here behind the flower. This is us cutting the cake at our wedding, and this is the whole wedding party. And that's my little nephew Jay running in the front. Ain't he cute? So yes, I am very married. You didn't see this? Big old rock. It's the only jewelry I wear every day. But I'm married. So no, I'm not. Well, I'm dating my boo. I'm dating my husband. I guess we go on dates. So I'm dating. Hi, Mina Ruth 2093. Mina Ruth says, I just want them to leave the kids alone. Whew, Mina, you took the words right out of my mouth. You are the co-host for the day because you are on it. I do too. Now listen, I have my thoughts about the Wales and the I always be wanting to call them the Cambridges. They were never the Cambridges, but Charles and Camilla. I always have my thoughts about them, and I don't like any of them, but I do think it's something crass about talking about kids in a derogatory way. I want the media to leave the kids alone. I even want people who support the Sussexes to not be mean and cruel to the kids. If you want to discuss the kids in the context of how they play into the whole family and some of the things that we see are happening with them or just them as they exist as royals, that's one thing. But I think being cruel and ugly and unkind, that's uncalled for, and I will never get behind that. I don't find anything to be cute about that. Kids are off limits, and kids should have the privilege of innocence because they do. They're very innocent and they don't deserve anything of what's happening to them, but they also don't have agency. So anything that they're doing or experiencing is not from them. They don't have the, they don't have the ability to create their world. Someone is making them do those things and doing that on their behalf. So I do wish people would be a lot more understanding about the kids. And I also wish the media would lay off the kids. I feel like they antagonize Louis sometimes and try to get him to act out. And I'm not a fan of that. Hi, Church Nelly. Church Nelly says, Harry and Meghan left almost 5 years ago. Yeah, it's almost been 5 years. The British media and monarchy need to leave them alone. They really do. But at this point, I guess if the citizens of the UK or the subjects in the UK are okay with having 24-hour round-the-clock lies about a couple who have nothing to do with this stuff and aren't working royals. And I mean, if y'all want 24-hour round-the-clock coverage of liars, then I guess have at it. I guess the same could be said about Trump supporters here in America. Like some people really do just like to sop up a bunch of lies and it makes them happy. And I guess I don't have to understand it to condemn it, but I guess I'm not even going to waste my breath. It's like, you know what? For you to even like that kind of stuff and want to absorb that, you have a lot of empty space to fill in that brain, obviously. So I'm going to leave you to it. But they absolutely are obsessed. Hey, Puppy Love. Puppy Love says, Sharion, I just told my friend to subscribe. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody tell somebody to subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody do it before you leave today. Tell somebody to subscribe. But no, thank you so much, Puppy Love. I appreciate that. Tell your friend to say hi. And if you tell me their name, I'll shout them out. Courtney in Paris. Hi, Courtney in Paris. Thank you so much for joining. Courtney in Paris says, beautiful podcast. Thank you. Meghan is beautiful inside and out. I love both looks. Your review is spot on. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really enjoyed reviewing those outfits. It's been a while since I've done a Sussex squad. I've done a Sussex style. My last Sussex style was weeks ago, and it was for members only, and we talked about her tennis core look, and that was a good time. But I did miss talking about fashion, so I'm glad she served up another really great look. So we have one more. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, I'm looking at y'all's comment. Oh, okay. Thank you, Church Nelly. Church Nelly says, Sharion, G-Town was a troll. That was the Thank you. I was like, I'm dating my man. The same. He'd been on the show before, but okay. Thank y'all so much. I was like, well, go for it. Well, C-O-R-E-Y. Am I saying that right? C-O-R-E-Y. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hello to all the new people who are here. I'm glad y'all got rid of him. I didn't want to be ugly, but I was like, now why on earth is he saying all this weird stuff in the chat? But thank y'all for getting rid of him. Yeah, I appreciate it. Hey, Leola Brown. It's always good to see you, Leola Brown. Leola says, I'm not sure the Australian trip will have a few surprises for Charles and his lady horse. Lady Horsey, I'm just saying, you know what? Maybe one of them kangaroos might bop him. I heard they're aggressive, but yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he's going all the way to Australia. First of all, Australia's never really been good to Charles, but I'm surprised he's going all the way to Australia. Can he? See, this is the problem with not knowing enough about how they're dealing with their alleged illnesses, is because should you be traveling that far away from home when you're ill to that extent? I probably wouldn't advise it, and I'm sure they would understand. So I don't know. Hi, Antoinette Kennedy. It's good to see you. Oh my God, I love your profile picture. Your makeup looks so good in that picture. Antoinette Kennedy says, Sharion, they are like vampires, just suck and drain the energy out of you with the lies. They're just like the orange. They're just like yes, they're all one and the same. The people who sit up and listen to crazy ass Trump are the same people who are like, well, the Daily Mail said it, so it must be true. I'm like, sweetheart, do you need a hug? Like, what in the world is really going on? But, you know, some people are determined to be on the wrong side of right. And I let them do that. Once I've corrected a person, I let them have at it. I said, okay, you're going to play in this little ignorant playpen in peace. I'm not going to get in your way. Okay, we got one more segment. But don't forget to continue leaving your comments in the chat. And I'll continue the discussion on the other side. Y'all, I'm still getting back in the groove. We'll continue the discussion on the other side. Ashley Hansen, the Global Press Secretary and Head of Communications for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is launching her own public relations firm, 3 Gates Strategies, and we've got all the details directly from Deadline. Once again, this article was published to Deadline, and it's titled, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's comms chief, Ashley Hansen, is launching 3 Gates Strategies, and the Sussexes are signing with the firm. This was written by Anthony D'Alessandro. Ashley Hansen, the Global Press Secretary and Head of Communications for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is launching her own public relations firm, 3 Gates Strategies, and she's taking the royals with her. Hansen has been the Global Press Secretary and Head of Communications for Prince Harry and Meghan's Archewell Foundation for more than 2 years. She will continue to represent and advise the Duke and Duchess while providing oversight to the international communications team. Hansen will continue to amplify the vital causes and endeavors undertaken by the couple, in addition to repping their new business ventures and creative projects. we hear that the Duke and Duchess fully support Hansen's new venture. It came about after she was approached by other clients seeking the high-quality counsel she had provided to the Sussexes. Three Gates Strategies now becomes part of a portfolio of female-led enterprises and new business ventures that the Duchess has supported since moving back to the U.S. in 2020. The Los Angeles-based firm derives its name from the Parisian poet Rumi. Quote, "Before you speak, let your words pass through three gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?" Three Gates Strategies will specialize in communications and brand management for distinguished individuals and organizations. The new firm's current client roster also includes high-profile individuals across entertainment, tech, and finance. Hansen built out the Duke and Duchess's current comms team earlier this year, appointing two senior-level communications executives, Kyle Boulia and Charlie Gibson, who are respectively based in Los Angeles and London. The team also includes longtime executives Miranda Barbeau, who began her tenure as manager of communications and is now VP of programming and media operations, and Disha Tank, director of communications, who joined the office of the Duke and Duchess alongside me back in 2022. Alongside me. I think this is an error. It seems like they might have been pulling a quote from Ashley Hansen, perhaps, and they were going to work it into the paragraph and forgot to complete editing because Anthony D'Alessandro does not work for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who wrote this article. And since there are no quotes here to credit the speaker, this alongside me is bothering me. So I know this isn't Anthony D'Alessandro, so it looks like he just tried to pull a quote and work it into the article instead of crediting the speaker and forgot to fix it. Let's move on. These little errors like this, well, this isn't little, but errors like this really bother me. Also, the title of this article is terrible. I feel like mainstream media, and y'all have seen me have these moments kind of a lot lately, never with Harper's Bazaar, thankfully, but with The Guardian, which I kind of understand there, Deadline, Marie Claire, even Vogue. They've been having a lot of glaring errors lately. And I'm wondering what the heck is going on behind the scenes. Maybe they're laying people off in media. And I mean, I feel like I've heard about that, but mostly with Ebony and maybe Essence. I remember there was some layoffs and there was a lot going on online about that. But maybe that's happening industry-wide. Maybe editors are understaffed, perhaps, because a lot of these errors, this could be fixed with just a simple read through. And I'm seeing a lot of error. Like the title of this article is freaking awful. And this is Deadline. They get a lot of exclusives from the Sussexes, and we've read all of them here. I think they've had 3 at this point. But it's interesting that they're having more and more of these glaring, really easy to spot errors that you don't need a communications or an English degree to see that this is an error here. Maybe they need to tighten up over there. During her run with the Sussexes, Hansen has advised the couple through various historical moments and projects, including their docuseries Harry and Meghan, Spare, Archetypes, Queen Elizabeth's Passing, and the King's Coronation. Hansen's career includes being an anchor producer at Good Morning America, the head of communications at Megan Ellison's Annapurna Pictures, UTA's director of comms, and a VP of communications at Universal Filmed Entertainment Group. Wow. Quote, "We are so proud of Ashley, especially as a female entrepreneur. We look forward to having her focus expertise on our business and creative projects and her continued oversight of our communications team. My husband and I are excited to be alongside Ashley as she builds something extraordinarily special with her firm," said Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, on behalf of the couple. Said Hansen, quote, "I am incredibly grateful to the Duke and Duchess for their continued trust. Their unwavering support and belief in my new firm has been meaningful and is a testament to their leadership. I knew when they first hired me that they were giving me the opportunity of a lifetime, and I couldn't be happier to continue working together." I also want to revert back to this real quick. Several comments that she made here in this one statement are interesting. Their unwavering support and belief in my new firm has been meaningful. So that means not only are they great leaders, but they're helping other people in their organization become better leaders, become better solo acts, I guess, become entrepreneurs, helping them to propel forward, not only as a group, but in their individual pursuits. There's no better boss that you can have than one who truly believes in not only you as their employee, but you as an individual. And this is the results of that. I apologize for that squeaking. As you know, I have an executive producer, a very cute schnauzer, and she is having a ball. So we just gonna let her have a good time. I also want to point out that she gave credit where it was due, a testament to their leadership. I couldn't have said this better myself. I often say, I told you guys I used to do executive training, leadership training, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And one of the main philosophies that I truly abide by is that good leaders create leaders. When you have a great leader, you have a person who's in place to help other people on their team and orbiting around their team, but also help the members, each of them individually, to prosper. And that's what you want. You don't want someone who's only looking at things with a bird's eye view. You want someone who can do both, have that intimate relationship where they're personally motivating and helping to create better workers and better employers, but also better, well-rounded professional individuals. And you also want the bird's eye view who can get people in line to do the job as a group. But all the while recognizing that each of these people who are part of your team are not going to be here forever. And you want to make sure that by working under you, they become better individuals, better professionals, have better skills, have better access, and you can propel them forward. That's the name of the game. A lot of people like to hold on to top talent who don't like to nurture top talent because they're afraid they'll leave or pursue bigger opportunities. And that is the mark of a bad leader. Something that I noticed with Harry and Meghan when I talked about the turnover conversation. And I said, actually, turnover can sometimes be a great sign that things are going very well, that they're acquiring a lot of skills, a lot of motivation, a lot of access here, and they're moving on to bigger roles or roles where they'll have a lot more, a lot of ownership in their position, or roles where they'll have higher titles or higher pay. What I'm seeing, some might see as turnover as a bad sign, and sometimes it is. But in a lot of cases, turnover can actually be a sign that things are going great, that people are acquiring a lot of great skills or getting the great titles, getting great pay, and then they move on to do bigger things. One of the things I talked about that in my opinion amplified that theory is that the people who left Archwell went on to do excellent things. Those who bothered to be named went on to do excellent things. And that's how you know the issue isn't really Archwell, it's the fact that they're helping people to advance. That's not a problem. But I also respect that they respect each of these people individually and allow them to go when they need to go. And you wish them well and you move on. And in this case, you get to let them quote unquote go, but you still get to work together in some capacity while propelling their individual growth. This is a sign of amazing leadership. I just want to wish Ashley Hansen the biggest congratulations and best of luck in her new pursuits. I can't wait to see what else comes from this. As always, we know that there's going to be a lot of growth and prosperity, and I'm excited that we get a front row seat. So I felt like just from that one interview from Ashley Hansen talking about her own endeavor, it put the kibosh on the whole Harry and Meghan are bad bosses, which we talked about the Us Weekly exclusive of people who were willing to be named on the record about how great of bosses Harry and Meghan are. But I also thought the fact that Ashley Hansen, who's branching out on her own, but will still retain the Sussexes as clients, mentioned and took time to mention in different ways, twice in two different ways, how great they were as bosses. And I'm like, see, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. And see how those stories just went ahead and died on down. But I do want to know who are these alleged whistleblowers who was working with Simon Perry over at People Magazine, because I do want them to be outed at some point, because I don't like disloyal people. It's one thing to acknowledge when something has been done to you. It's another thing to lie. I want to know who that was, but that's just my own little personal grudge. Now, before we get out of here, I wasn't planning on making a segment out of this because I rarely talk about Piss Morgan ever, but we've talked about how horrible he has been to Meghan over the years. I have several videos. We talked about that backwards, forwards, but I've also touched on like his feelings about just Black women or women of color in general, and his own personal grudge against Beyonce as well. When he interviewed her, I feel like it was in 2010 or 2011 when she was headlining Glastonbury, and he interviewed her then. He was so passive aggressive, and he was committing several microaggressions, and we talked about it before. And over the years, he's just always had something very negative to say about her, and she pays him literal dust, which I love. Well, recently, he had hip hop's resident psychopath, Jaguar Wright, allegedly, had her on his podcast peddling her ridiculous conspiracy theories. Like this woman has been peddling conspiracy theories in the dungeons of hip hop for years. And I've always looked at her with a high level of compassion, but there's only so much compassion I have for you when you're actively using your nonsensical perspective to try and attack and take down other people who have done nothing wrong. And so that is where my compassion ended for her when I saw that she ended up trying to start and initiate a hate train against Beyonce and Jay-Z for no reason. For no reason. Honestly, it was because it was the only thing getting her attention. Well, how does Piers Morgan have anything to do with this? Well, he interviewed Jaguar Wright on his show, Piers Morgan Uncensored. He actually interviewed that nutcase. And I'm not trying to be unkind to her, but at some point, you got to get kind of real. There's a line to where the compassion can go when you're trying to destroy innocent people. That is where I just lose all consideration until you get back right. Well, he interviewed her and she peddled more of her nonsense. Now the stories have all morphed into being way more, dramatic. And that's kind of how liars operate. And I just thought it was kind of insane when there are real people you could be talking to about abuse. I mean, Brad Pitt has faced allegations of physical abuse and verbal abuse from Angelina Jolie and their children. Who was it that just came out with abuse allegations? Trey Songz for years, Chris Brown for years have had abuse allegations. R. Kelly, as we know, Jeffrey Epstein, well, he did. Harvey Weinstein. I mean, we've been seeing abuse allegations. Mario Lopez just had some a couple of years ago. A lot of men have been accused. A lot of people have been accused of doing some very indecent things. Why not talk about them and talk to their real alleged victims to tell their story? Use your platform to actually tell stories that need to be told instead of making up conspiracies. Well, I had it. I put it on TikTok that I didn't agree with his choice to do that. I don't agree with anything he does. I think he's an awful person, and I cannot wait for the day that he genuinely gets sued and he loses his platform and he goes to jail. He needs to pay for what he's done to Meghan. And he also needs to pay for what he's contributed to doing to a lot of other people. I've made that known for a long time. But when he interviewed Jaguar Wright, I just said, oh, that's two nutcases talking to each other. Well, y'all, he had to apologize today. I guess he got a call and he had to apologize. So I'm going to share it here. I just received this in my inbox. I'm going to share it here.
Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with a legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
As you should. You should apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce. And while we're at it, you should apologize to Harry and Meghan as well. I have a whole scroll, a whole list of people Piers Morgan needs to apologize to. That man has been a tyrant for years. And I'm surprised that this is seemingly ending with an apology. I hope it does not. I hope it does not. And I don't even like the attitude he has here. Like, we don't often edit videos on uncensored, but there are legal limits. You have been really grazing those legal limits for quite some time, Piers. I'm over it. I'm so glad that in some way, someone is being held responsible, but Jaguar Wright's ass needs to be held responsible too. I was asked on TikTok if I plan to use my other channel, SharionSade Says, which is kind of in a transition right now. I was asked if I would use that to talk about like celebrity matters like this one, and I might do a live stream so we can actually talk about that stuff off of the royal platform or the royally focused platform, and I might do that. But I just could not believe that. I said, see, yet another scandal with Piss Morgan out here attacking Black people. What is your problem? And Jaguar Wright, if she had done any kind of research, she would have known all about Piss Morgan and she wouldn't have been talking to him. If you really wanted to be taken serious, that's not the person you would have talked to. But the thing is, reputable reporters would never have talked to her crazy self. None of them. It was absolutely ridiculous. There are real stories that you could be getting out there and instead you decided to try and attack somebody who did nothing wrong. I hope it doesn't end here. I hope we get more from this situation. And I really hope we see some sort of justice served. It might not come in the way that we expected, but it might come after all, because Jay-Z and Beyonce are not the people to play with. I just want to make it known here. Beyonce has never lost a court case. Ever. So if this should go any further, I look forward to seeing him on the other side having to pay back his damages, because he's done a lot. And I don't appreciate how he's done Harry. I definitely don't appreciate how he's done Meghan. And he definitely treaded in the wrong waters and got bit by them sharks that are Jay-Z and Beyonce. And I love it. Protect yourself and defend yourself. Don't let people walk all over you. And if you know anything about Beyonce, you know that she really is one of those people that likes to focus on peace. That's kind of that's her whole thing. She talks about being peaceful all the time, just always want to be peaceful. And it seemed like Piss Morgan really gets a kick out of picking on people whose whole focus is peace. Is that not true? Look at Meghan, peaceful under a tree, and he just can't get enough of attacking her. He learned today. And so I had to share that. I wasn't planning on talking about it, but thank you to the person who sent that to me in my inbox. I really appreciate it, because I certainly wouldn't have seen it, because I certainly have his name muted on all my platforms. I don't see anything about Piers or any of the other ones. And you know the ones. So we're coming up on time. That's all I actually have time for today. We have had some good conversation. I'm glad we were able to get caught up. I have a new video coming out every single day this week. I'm just going to try to get right back into work and focus. So no more days off. I hope we get to talk a lot more. But if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share. I'm trying to grow the channel as best I can. I hope we can make it to 30,000 by the end of the year, or maybe even 40 if we can do it. That would be great. That's the goal. Who knows? But I'm so glad to have the ones that we do have. Thank y'all so much for being here. And I appreciate y'all welcoming me back to a live stream. We'll have to do this a lot more often. Maybe I'll try to get back up to once a week. That would be great. That's all I have for y'all today. I hope y'all enjoyed the video or the live stream, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the SharionSade podcast.